everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Real Talk. And today I really wanted to talk about something that I go through personally. If you follow my other page, Simply Rel, I have talked about it a little bit. But today I want to talk about mental health and parenting. So I was diagnosed with anxiety back in 2018 or 2019. And I actually had a lot of issues with it previously, but I never went to the doctor for it because I was afraid they were going to put me on medication. And I was just told that the medication they put you on, it doesn't make you like yourself. And I didn't want to depend on medication to help me get through it. But it got to a point where my anxiety got really, really bad. And the type of anxiety that I have, I forgot what the therapist said it was. I don't remember. But pretty much the anxiety that I have is I pretty much think of worst case scenario all the time. I go from 0 to 100 real quick. I'm talking, I could be on a 2 lane road and my mind just goes to, would I survive if a car hit me head on at this speed? Like, I think like that's me. I also have a tendency to make up scenarios that will probably never ever happen in my head. So sometimes having an active imagination and a creative mind is a blessing and a curse because my anxiety just runs wild. Like, I have movies and everything in my head that, again, will probably never ever happen in my lifetime. But the very first time where it really started to impact, I want to say my parenting, we had only had our two children at the time, and our daughter was 4, maybe 5, or I believe she was about to be 6. And our son was about 3. And one day I remember I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and out of nowhere, there was just this anxious feeling that took over my entire body. Like, my heart started beating really, really fast. Like, I mean, beating out of my chest. I could feel it echoing in my body, and I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating, like I could not breathe. And my husband asked, he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. And I was getting hot. I felt like I was going to pass out. I had to go downstairs, turn the fan on, and I just sat there and I started crying. I mean, I'm rocking back and forth. I am freaking out. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, if I don't calm down soon, I'm going to go to the hospital because I honestly think I'm having a heart attack. That is how bad I could not breathe. And my husband, bless his soul, he sat there and he held me. And it took me, I want to say, over an hour to calm down. And then I later found out that I had actually had a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I still don't know what prompted it to this day, but I know that it was one of the scariest things that I have ever experienced in my life. It was absolutely terrifying. And even after that happened, I still hadn't didn't go to the doctor because I was just like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And it wasn't until it was a family member had passed away. And I don't like going to funerals because then I start thinking about me dying and then my family members dying. And then my mind goes into this downward spiral and it is not good. And it got to the point where I had actually planned my funeral. Like, not like, oh, here's my will. No, I mean, I planned my funeral to like a T. Like, this is what time I wanted to start, and this is what music I want to play, and this is what I want people to like. I literally planned my funeral. And it was at that moment I was like, yeah, I should probably talk to someone. I should probably start to talk to someone. And I went and I spoke with a therapist, and honestly, it's actually very difficult for me anyway because I have a very hard time expressing myself verbally. If I write it down, I could write you a book. I could tell you what's going on every single minute of the day. But when it goes to verbally expressing myself, it is very, very difficult. So there were many times during the sessions where he can remind me, we have like 45 minutes left, right? And I'm just, he's trying to get me to talk and figure out, where my anxiety is coming from, what prompted it. And I honestly didn't know. I feel like I went to therapy and I was so unprepared because he's asking me questions and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And after I told him that I planned my funeral, he looked very terrified. And he'd asked me if I thought about harming myself. And I'm like, no, no, I'm not thinking about harming myself. I just think about dying all the time. And so I planned a funeral. And he wanted to put me on medication. And I stopped him right there. I said, absolutely not. I don't want to be on medication. I don't want to be anyone other than myself. But I do want help. And so we came up with a holistic form of treatment, which pretty much is focusing on things that I love, focus on things that keep me grounded. So he was like, "You're a writer. Try writing, try going on walks and exercising, like being in nature, try breathing techniques, going to church or spending time with family and friends. If you don't want to be on medication, you have to do something to mitigate what you're feeling." And one of the things that he told me was that when you feel that anxiousness coming on, figure out where the root of it is coming from. That way, you can figure out a way to get through it. And he also told me, he said, you need to talk to someone that you can trust, someone that you love, someone who is not going to judge you, but you need to talk to someone because holding it in is only going to make it worse. You need to talk to someone. And I have a very hard time doing that, especially like with my family, with my husband, because I feel like I'm gonna worry them. I mean, although they already worry, but I feel like if I told them all the anxious thoughts that actually go on in my head, they would be absolutely terrified. And the sucky thing with me is that usually stress causes anxiety, and then anxiety causes depression, and then depression causes health issues, and then I start worrying even more. And when I get to that point, it is not good. Usually, with my anxiety, I can kind of mitigate it and it's not that bad. But when I have those depressive episodes, that's when it gets really, really bad. And I had my very first really bad depressive episode, I want to say in 2019. And it got to the point where I had lost 25 pounds. So I was only 130 pounds to begin with, and I lost 25 pounds. So when I got on the scale, I was 105 pounds, 105, skin and bones. There were times where I would walk up the steps and my knees would literally buckle because of how small I was. When I get depressed, I do not eat, like at all. And those of you who know me, you know that food is life. I love food, okay? So if I stop eating, that is the number one sign that something is wrong with me. Check on your girl, okay? If I'm turning down any type of food, something is wrong. And I was not eating. I think the only thing that honestly kept me from going in the hospital was that I was drinking water. And it really started to affect my parenting because I wasn't playing with the kids, I wasn't interacting with the kids. I would make sure that they ate and that they took a bath, but that was it. Once I knew that they were fed, they had been bathed, they were in their room, I would just go underneath the covers, darkness, no light, no exercise, no nothing. And my daughter, being as young as she was, like even 5, 6 years old, she noticed. And she would be like, Mommy, are you okay? Like, you haven't eaten. And I'm like, yeah, mommy's fine, mommy's fine. And I did not realize that she was paying attention. I didn't realize that they were paying attention because of how young they were. I honestly did not realize. And to this day, when I go through things, because I've gone through depressive episodes since, and one of the hardest things is trying to get through it and trying not to show my children. Like, I want them to know that I go through things, like I'm human, but I try my hardest not to let it affect, how I parent. I still try and, show up and be present. Because for the children, they might know that I'm going through something, but they don't understand what anxiety is. They don't understand what depression is, not at the age that they are. And I really have to, tell myself, like, yes, I am going through something, but I also need to make sure that I'm doing my part to mitigate what I'm going through. That way I am still being, a good present mother. And I have explained to my children, although they might understand, mommy does have anxiety and she does have depression. And there are going to be times where, I'm really sad or, I might not eat as much. But, mommy's working on it, because I want to be honest with my children about that. And I think a lot of times as parents, when we are going through things, especially with mental health, we feel weak or we feel like that makes us a bad parent, but it doesn't. It doesn't at all. You're not weak for having these issues. You're not a bad parent for having these issues. Going through those issues and still pushing forth every single day and showing up and being the best person that you can be for your children, for your spouse, that is one of the strongest things that you can do. And having a mental illness does not make you weak. Having a mental illness does not make you less than. Don't ever feel guilty or ashamed for going through what you go through. I know there's a lot of stigma around mental health issues. A lot of people won't even understand, especially if they haven't been through it, and they will look at you like you are crazy, but you are not. You know what you go through, you know what you experience. It is very real to you. But one thing that I can say, one thing that I have learned is I've learned not to use my mental health issues as a crutch, because for the longest time I would. I would just blame it on, oh, well, my anxiety was acting up, or, oh, I was depressed. And I realized that I wasn't actually doing anything to fix it. And sometimes it is very, very difficult to pull yourself out of those dark places. But I realized that I had to do my part as well. So when I know that those things are happening, I need to do my best to make sure that I'm putting in the effort to help as well. Like my husband will tell me, like, oh, you know what you need to do? You need to get outside, go take a walk. You need to exercise because you know it's going to help you. And I know you don't feel like it. I know you don't, and I understand. But every day you need to make yourself do it because it's only going to make you better. And there are times where I don't. I just want to sit in the room. I want to lay down. I want to just be in my little hidey hole. But I know that in order to get better, I have to put forth the effort to get better. And I also want to show our children that, yes, I'm going through things, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to come back stronger than I was before. I'm not going to sit around. I'm not going to wallow in my sorrow because Lord knows that makes it worse. I'm going to do what I need to do. Okay. And actually, was it actually a few months ago? I want to say I had went through another one of those periods where my anxiety was acting up, my depression was getting bad, and I had lost weight again, and clothes weren't fitting. I had to use a hair tie to keep my pants up. It was not good at all. My husband was worried about me because he's like, "You're getting really thin. I'm worrying about you. Like, you need to eat more." Um, so I actually downloaded this app called LifeSum, which is really good. You can actually just scan the barcode for anything that you eat: bread, eggs, cereal, milk, literally anything, and it will track your calories. If you just put in like how much you want to lose, how much you want to gain, it will literally track everything for you. I have the free version because I'm cheap. But if you pay for it, they have meal plans and everything. It's great. But I had to use that app. That way I held myself accountable every single day. And I made sure that I was eating the amount of calories, if not more, so that I was gaining weight. I can say I have put on some pounds. Yay, me. It's been a journey because I could not eat for 2 days and 5 pounds is gone. But trying to put the pounds back on, that is always a struggle. Like I literally have to eat so much. When I have to say I have to count my calories, I have to count my calories. Okay, but I have to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable because, along with mental health issues, there are also like the physical aspects that a lot of people don't realize. Um, Anxiety, for me, it causes heart palpitations, so my heart skips beats. Sometimes it can cause me to, it's this weird thing. It feels like I can't breathe. Like there's something blocking my airways, so I have to like take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. It's terrible. It's kind of like when you have a cold and you have like mucus and stuff in your chest and like you feel like it's hard to breathe. Yeah, it's like that, but there's no blockage at all. Sometimes I'll feel like numbness or tingliness in my arms and my legs. Like one time I thought I was having a stroke. Um, because like one side of my body was like tingling and going numb. I called my doctor and I did like a virtual appointment. He's like, "Well, you're not having a stroke, but I'm pretty sure it's due to your anxiety. Like your anxiety is making you feel this way." Um, and that's also the reason why I don't look up my symptoms for anything, because if I see it, my body will mimic it. I lie to you not. My body will literally mimic symptoms, and it's absolutely terrifying. Um, and that's one of the other things that I really don't like. And of course, due to, when I go to my depression and I don't eat, that of course causes even more health problems. So it's just very important to take care of yourself. I will say that. Just make sure that you have things in place for when you know that you're going through things. And like I said, it can be very, very difficult. Again, I love food, and when I go through these things, I don't even want to look at food. I don't want to look at nothing. Nothing's appetizing to me, but I have to force myself to do it because I know what is best. And another thing that I have learned is to allow myself to feel, because sometimes it can be so easy to run away from those emotions because you're scared or you're ashamed. You're like, I don't want to go through this again. But you have to allow yourself to feel. You have to allow yourself to release whatever it is you're going through, even when it comes to, my anxiety. Like, one thing that I like, let me get myself together. One thing that my anxiety makes me fear is death. And I literally think about this all the time. Like, I have a will, I have letters written out to my husband, to my children, in case it happens. Like, I literally have an envelope and it says, open in case of death. Yes. And I know it's bad. I know it's bad. Seriously, y'all, don't worry about me, because I know y'all gonna be like, you need help. You should talk to someone. Really? I am okay. I mean, you should have a will in place anyway, because you never know what could happen. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. My husband thinks I'm morbid, but no, like literally, that's just the way that my anxiety is. But sometimes I just have to say it out loud and talk through it. And I have to tell myself, you know what? Yes, one day you are going to. But this morning you woke up, you are here with your family. So just cherish those moments. And every day that you open your eyes, it's a blessing. So you cherish those moments and you make the most of every day until that day comes, because you can't control it. You worrying about it isn't going to control it. So live your life to the fullest. Breathe. Think about everything that you're grateful for. Think about things that make you happy. Think about how blessed you are. And just go from there. And that's what I have to do. In those moments, I take a deep breath, I breathe in, I breathe out. There's this breathing method that I use where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7 seconds, and then you release for 6 seconds. Or is it 8 seconds? One of those. And I use that as one of my grounding techniques. Or I go outside, because feeling the breeze, hearing the birds chirp, it really helps to ground me so much. Um, I feel like I kind of rambled a little bit, but I did just want to share my experience with you and be honest. And I hope that through sharing this, I can help someone else to either seek help or to talk to someone or to not be ashamed of what you're going through. Okay. Like I say, if you are a parent and you struggle with mental health, just know that you are not alone. And if you need someone to talk to, my inbox is always open. Okay. I mean, I might not respond right away because, these children keep me busy, but I will respond. And just know that there is help out there. If you feel like you don't have anyone that you know that can talk to, there is help out there. There is someone for you to talk to. Even if you have to write it down in a journal, if you have to type it, even if you have to record yourself and not show anyone, just do it so that you can release whatever it is that you're feeling and you can get to a better place. So if you made it this far to the end of the video, I really appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate the love and the support. And again, there will be more videos coming soon, and I'm going to be talking about everything. Mental health may come up again, especially more specifically men's mental health, and I really just want to, dive into everything, dive into it all. Because, like I said, there is such a stigma when it comes to mental health, and this is something that I am very, very passionate about. So, you are going to hear me talk about it a lot. You might get tired of it, but I will. I'm going to talk about it anyway. So yeah, again, I just want to thank you for watching and listening. And be on the lookout for more episodes. And that is all for now. Peace, love, and happiness, y'all.